Welcome back to the Pictures Up podcast. As you can tell, things are a little bit different. We've been sheltering in place due to coronavirus. Speaking of corona, got one in hand. And we're going to be talking about quite possibly the greasiest show on TV right now, and that's Tiger King. Where do I even begin with this show? There's so much to talk about, so let's go ahead and dive in. Before we get into the actual review portion of this video, let's talk about the basic story from a 10,000 foot view. It's basically about three different small-time zoo owners, Joe Exotic, Carole Baskin, and Doc Antle. Now, they own, breed, and sell big cats. Specifically, we usually talk about the tigers. So, as the story goes on, there's various laws get put into place, either preventing the sale of big cats from one person to another. Then another one came up trying to outlaw the ownership of big cats on a small-time basis by just, the general population. And this turns into a huge fight between Joe Exotic and Carole Baskin. And it also gets this other guy, Doc Antle, involved, who we'll talk about in a minute. So it starts out, it basically tells us who these people are. And you get the feeling that, okay, well, all three of these people, they just seem like they like their cats, basically. They start off the show by talking about Joe Exotic and his story and where he's been and what's he doing and all that kind of stuff. And you begin to think, okay, so Joe's pretty nutty. He's pretty weird. But those other two seem all right. And then the next episode comes in and starts talking about Doc Antle, and it talks about how he has like 8 wives and a harem of women who he, he treats pretty badly. He pays them, sort of. But you realize that, okay, so 2 out of 3 of these people are crazy, are nuts. But this third person, Carole Baskin, seems somewhat normal. Didn't seem all that weird. Not so fast, the filmmakers say. When the third episode comes on, you realize, oh man, these people are nuts. They're all crazy. They are all batshit crazy. And Carole Baskin definitely fed her husband to the tigers. Changed my mind. Those 3 relationships in and of themselves are pretty much enough for an entire show, and I'm pretty sure that's all they were going for when they started making this documentary. But then shit got weird, and that's where the filmmakers must have been like, I'm sitting on a gold mine right now. Like, I can't write drama this good, and this all happened in real life, which is pretty nuts. So it goes from talking about each person individually, and then the background all together, and kind of helps us to understand that, and then it goes into the main conflict between Joe Exotic and Carole Baskin. And these two fucking hate each other. Joe Exotic started doing a bunch of dumb things like, infringing on the big cat rescue copyright, which was not smart at all. They bring in this huge lawsuit, and things just seem to be going totally downhill for Joe Exotic. And then you look at these 3 people, Doc Antle, Carole Baskin, Joe Exotic, you realize these 3 people are incredibly manipulative. Joe Exotic and Doc Antle both pay their employees. They don't pay them very much, and they give them places to live on site. Joe Exotic's crew were living in a literal dump in the middle of, as they say, bumfuck Oklahoma. And then Doc Antle's people are living in decent houses, but they are manipulated. Most of them are women, and they're all manipulated into augmenting their bodies basically for his pleasure, and if they really want to move up in the ranks, they have to sleep with him. So those 2 are pieces of shit in and of themselves. But then you realize Carole Baskin is just as bad in just a different way. She doesn't even pay her people. All of her people are volunteers, and you have to give like X amount of years of service before you get up, to this certain level, and the different levels of like volunteers are shown through like t-shirt colors. So she's just as manipulative, it's just in a different way. All 3 of these people suck. It is just the amount of lies and backstabbing in this show is just great. And plus, just the overall greasiness of it is hysterical. And then you got the ungodly amount of memes that have come out. Every single one of them is fire. I don't even know. There's literally so much to talk about with this show. I can't fit it all into a short video. God, just if you haven't watched it yet, get your life together and watch this show. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. These filmmakers were sitting on a gold mine, and releasing it during the whole coronavirus quarantine thing where everybody has to sit at home and watch because they don't have anything better to do. Genius. Just genius. You can't write drama this good. It's great. It's just great. Just watch the show. That's all I can say. Just watch the show. I know this was kind of a rambling review, but just watch the show. What did you think about Tiger King? Do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. We'll see you next week, and make sure to check back every Wednesday afternoon for a new episode.